Hello and welcome to Old School Garage. My name is Nicholas. Today I'm going to be introducing my new project truck. Now, as you know, I am in no place to be having another project vehicle. I'm a little full right now as is, and I have other stuff going on in the background. But this truck the listing was sent to me by a viewer, and I really appreciate you sending me this listing. But I thought about this truck originally, and I was like kind of hesitant about it, and then I kind of realized I really should jump on it because it is a really cool truck. Now it takes up a lot of space, and it's not the smallest truck in the world, but it's going to give me some really good info to work on this guy. So as you can see here, the fenders are off. I just recently made a video on that, pulling the fenders off, and I'm going to eventually start working on those and getting them completely repaired. But we're working on this guy, and now we got this super stretched out L1000 right here. Now, as you can see, the whole stretched out lie isn't real. It is a very short truck. It's an 11-foot wheelbase. So it is very teeny tiny. He is exactly half the distance of this L1000 right here in wheelbase. So you can line this guy up twice and it will meet the same length of the red one. Now another cool thing is the super long truck, because it was a car hauler, is a day cab. And then the super short truck is the big sleeper. So it's it's odd to say the least. I do believe this is the original length of the truck. The springs and axle tell me that, because they're pretty small. You got a 9,000 pound front axle, but then only a 23,000 pound rear. It is very complete though. We have two 100-gallon Snyder tanks. Looks like a possibly original air cleaner, not positive on that. I don't think this had the tower. It may have at one point though. I believe it had a 230 Cummins originally, but it is a 290 now, I believe. So I know it turns over. Our toolboxes are in pretty good shape. No real rut on this cab, especially compared to the red L1000. So as you can see, it's really dirty, but it's mainly intact. All the headliners are gone, pretty much. They all fell. I don't believe this is the original AC unit, but it could be. Got 560,000 miles on the clock. Both ashtrays still here. Looks like we have all of our switch knobs except for the panel light. The seats are not that great, but hey, there's seats here. Original shift knob, original shift boot. So that's pretty cool to see. Our 290 Cummins looks pretty intact. Nothing major is missing. No intercooler. Now the truck was originally red, as you can see here, but then it was painted a yellow at some point, and then a green, and now a blue. So it's quite the mess going on. But this is the bigger sleeper of that Dodge offered. There was one size that was smaller, and then you had the day cab. So that's pretty cool. Got a chrome lubrifier here. That's cool to see. Here's the other tank. I believe this is the original cap. I don't have another one for that side, but if someone knows of any of these caps laying around somewhere and they're willing to cough one up, please email me. Email is in the description. Now we do have some tubeless wheels. I believe they're tubeless. Yep. And then Some are mixed with tube type. I believe over here. Yep, you got tube type over here. The best way to tell this is tube type is flat, and then tubeless has like that ridge in the middle. So you can also tell by if you got 20 or 22 inch tires, or 26, those are tube type, and then 22.5, 24.5 are tubeless. So we have a tubeless wheel in here. So I'd like to go to tubeless at some point, so I'm going to need to source some tubeless wheels, but that's fine. Original bumper. Grills are jacked up, but that's expected. It does appear that the hinges are really seized on it, so. But we also have a ventilator up there and then an AC unit. So that's very cool. One thing this truck didn't have. So I don't believe it's the original AC unit, but it could be. But the ventilator is obviously original because those are directly mounted to the cab. They're built into the cab. All right, so before I get started on this guy, I'm gonna basically explain what I've done because I've put a couple days of work into the truck to prepare it for getting pressure washed. I'm just cleaning it out and everything like that. I was able to strip a lot of the interior and get everything ready with that. But some main things that I've done is got that guy off the top, the mirror holders for the mobile home moving part of it. So originally it would have had some bars inside here that extended really far out because this truck would have been pulling a really wide load with a mobile home or anything like that. So you need to see behind that if you can. So that was mounted to the roof very crudely. So it did a lot of corrosion damage up on the roof. We'll look at that in a second. But let's look at the interior real quick, and then we're going to talk about the roof and what has to be done with that. But a lot's been done in here. So the first thing that I really did was get all the carpet and the seats and everything out of here just to clear everything out. I got the mattress out. Hopefully didn't get no diseases from that, but I pulled all the headboards, every bit of headliner, insulation, everything out of the truck. So the main reason for that was it was infested with ladybugs and spiders. So I wanted to get all that out. I didn't film any of it because frankly it would have been pretty boring to watch. There's nothing really interesting going on. I have opened up the dash in here, and I'm probably going to pressure wash in here just to clear it out. But I will be cleaning all this guy, getting everything cleared up. I want to get some of the glue off if I can from the matting or whatever they had down. Got all the carpet out of here and everything like that. But the main thing was just getting this ready to start prepping it so that I can start rebuilding it and not have a nest of insects in here. And, you know, kind of get rid of some of the mold. So there's a lot of dirt behind there, and there's still a lot of insulation up on the roof here. I got as much of it as I could, but you can only do so much. So it's a lot cleaner, it smells a lot better in here, and now it's really ready to start, you know, really working on it and clean it up. But now let's go look at the roof real quick, and then we'll get moving on the pressure washing. All right, so I'm up here at the roof of the truck, and I will be pressure washing this. Now, keep one thing in mind. When you're walking up here, you don't want to just walk up here normally. This should be like a rare occasion type thing. But you want to keep walking on this center brace. If you're in a day cab, I wouldn't suggest walking on it simply for the fact that there's not as much bracing. I'm not the heaviest dude on the planet, as I'm sure you've seen, so I'm comfortable walking up here. Just, you can't be stupid with it and overstep your bounds. So you can see the original patterns for the lights. Everything is still up here, which is kind of cool. They had some weird stuff up here, like watermelon style lenses, and that was about it. There were no real lights. But the roof is intact. There's not a whole lot of holes. One little guy over here, someone sealed up a long time ago. So lots of mold. There was a little bracket for a light up here, just stuff like that. So this is all a part of sealing the cab up, and I'm wanting to just try and get this as clean as possible so I can start to put any type of sealant down that I want to, or fill it with a rivet or anything like that. So you can see the air conditioning unit doesn't look like the original, but I'm sure it worked at one point. Fan motor stuck, so it's probably gonna have to fully come apart, but we'll get to all that in the future. So I do have the tanks soaking right now in some degreaser. I'm gonna be doing this whole thing with 50-50 degreaser, 50% degreaser, 50% water. So we'll see how this goes. But let's get to pressure washing. Alright, so I just finished pressure washing the ceiling, and I'm not filming that because that would be pretty difficult to film. But now I'm going to pressure wash the dash. So obviously you don't want to overload the gauges with water, but I need to clean everything, and because I've already soaked everything in here, it's not going to hurt it much more to get it a little bit wet. So I'm not going to do any direct pressure directly on the gauges, but just, you know, kind of clear it all out. I've already scrubbed a lot of this with a brush, so it should pretty much come clean immediately. I've already done this front plate up here, and then the glass, and then the two doors, so it's really just the floor and this dash right here. So I'm obviously getting soaked. This sucks, but it's good to do it now before I start putting things back and then getting the new stuff wet. So I'm gonna spray this one time with some degreaser real quick, get it soaking again, get the steering wheel, and then I'll start pressure washing. All right, so I left off, I finished pressure washing this guy and pretty much cleaned it almost all the way up. The inside was horrible. I had to pressure wash the inside because of all the insulation from the factory gluing the insulation up to the ceiling and the walls. So I was able to clean a lot of that up. But let's take a quick look here at everything. Get to see it kind of cleaned up a bit. The sun's playing tricks with me right now, but hey, it looks a lot better. It's a lot dirtier. I gotta get vent window frames, but that's not the most horrible thing in the world. The ceiling looks all right. So does the dash, but we'll take a look at that in a second. Let's first take a look at this roof. Now the roof was pretty moldy, but take a look at it now. It's all right. Everything's nice and clean. So the interior looks a lot better. I tried to keep as much water out of the bunk heater as I could. This guy was filled with mud dauber nests, but I was able to get most of them out. So it's a lot cleaner now, probably going to be a lot easier to work on. I need to replace these switch covers. These are original. And looks like we got some water in the gauges, which is fine. They have holes on the backside. So one thing that's a little bit odd, they put a turn signal control box in, and so I need to replace all that stuff in there. I don't see anything missing in there, but I could be wrong. We'll get to that point when we get down that road. Now, a lot of these gauges, if you didn't know, a lot of them were international gauges. I'm just learning that actually. The International worked with Dodge a lot, with a lot of things. One thing that's very similar is these vent windows are the Paystar vent windows, the early or late 70s Paystars. So a lot of these parts, honestly, well, you can find in internationals. The seals are not the same, only the vent window seals, but there are some similarities that you can find. So we'll be getting to that in another video with the window seals and how I'm going to address that. So a lot of stuff still froze up. It's all been soaking in oil. Probably won't do much, but we'll get to all that. Our ventilator works, so that's cool. It was sealed in silicone, so I'm sure that this seal needs to be replaced. If anyone can point me to these seals, please let me know. They'd be the same as the side vent window seals. I'm sure they're pretty standard, I just can't find them right now. These seats look all right. They're not in the best condition. As you can see, they're torn up. But for a truck that's been sitting since the mid-90s, I'll take it. The aluminum tanks came out all right. There's still some spots that need to be scrubbed, and we'll be doing a full brightening video on that at some point. I want to leave them brightened, although I have polished a little bit right there before the pressure washing, and they could definitely be polished. Everything back here is just rusty, but it's not covered in grease and asphalt anymore. So now I can fully get to working on everything without getting dirty. It's just nice. Let's take a look at this paint real quick. Let me show you all what I think I can do. All right, so what I've got going on here with this paint is you can obviously see there's some red in certain spots. We have a yellow, and then a red oxide primer, and then some blue paint over it, and then there's white paint over the blue paint for stripes. But after scraping all the stickers off, the DOT stickers and everything like that, you can see, if you don't gouge it, there's some weak spots here. Let me try that. You can scrape the blue paint off. So obviously this is a dangerous way to do it, not like you're gonna kill yourself, but you don't want to gouge the paint. You're trying to save the yellow paint, like I am at least. I'm trying to get down to that next layer. So, because I don't like the blue, I like the blue, it's very ratty and worn. I'd like to see if I can get back to that yellow. So I did some testing, and just using a basic lacquer thinner and a red Scotch-Brite, and I recommend wearing gloves if you're doing this. I'm just doing some testing. But you can easily, well, it's not easy, but it's pretty quick, and it's not destructive like sanding. You can get through that red oxide primer and even the blue paint. Now it takes a lot of scrubbing power, but you can get through a lot of it pretty quickly. This way you're not using a stripper or anything like that. You can just simply wear away the paint to get to what you want. So I didn't know what this door was going to look like. This is my first time painting this, so it looks like someone did some sanding, which means we're probably not going to be able to save this door necessarily in terms of paint. So let me get some more scrubbed off, and we'll see where we end up. All right, so that whole section right there took about 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, like 1:30 or something like that, according to the camera. So it obviously is a slow process. Some spots are going to be easier than others. You can see over here that there's a lot of aluminum. This is bare aluminum. So there's going to be spots like that where I won't be able to recover. So I may do a certain patch section and then simply put like a implement coat or something over this, like a similar color, but not exactly. But wherever there's red oxide primer, it comes off extremely easy. It's just the blue paint itself right here is quite difficult. So it takes a lot of scrubbing and getting down to that base layer. Now with the inside, it's a little bit different. This paint right here is very dirty, as you can see. It's definitely not like clean. But simply taking a paper towel with some lacquer thinner, you can get most of it up. So what's cool is I got some compound and just a dirty rag. Sit here and scrub it. Now I'd use a machine for this. I wouldn't do this all by hand, but you definitely could do it by hand. Look at that. It's not perfect. I mean, it's old and patina, but that's super clean. So you definitely can bring this paint up. It's not like it's bad. To do a proper full restoration, you would obviously strip the door, sand it completely down, etch it, and then prime and paint. But for this kind of stuff, you know, it's cool to see, first of all, the character, and then second of all, there really was minimal effort compared to a brand new paint job. When you really think about it, it's still gonna look good, but it's gonna be just worn in certain areas, and it's gonna have that patina look. So if you like the patina look, good couple of tips there. But if you don't, you're still stuck standing. So in conclusion, this wasn't a very informational video, if you wanna call it that, in terms of like what I was doing and everything. It was just cleaning. So I cut a lot of it out. I didn't put half of the stuff that I did in the video because I felt like it was boring. And you kind of get the picture. It was just cleaning. So there's definitely a lot of steps that need to be taken on this guy. If you think I should do an aluminum grill, let me know down in the comments. It's a lot of work. That was the only reason I'm asking is, you know, I mean, it is very cool, but it takes a lot of effort to make that kind of a grill. So if you think I should do it again, let me know. And then let me know if you think I should do something specific to the truck, like exhaust-wise or anything like that. I'd like to keep it fairly original. I don't want to modify this truck or change it too much, as you've probably figured out by this point with everything that I do. But it's definitely a cool one. It's short. It's definitely special. The fact that I now have a super long, if you want to call it that, super long L1000 day cab, and then a super short L1000 sleeper, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it's cool nonetheless. So stick around for more on this truck. We've got a lot to go on it and some other projects we got to do. Obviously, we got the other L1000 and the other two Dodge trucks. So I'm hoping to do a first start here soon on the red L1000. So just stay tuned for all that good stuff. And for now, I'll just leave you with this guy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video. I would like to thank everyone that has subscribed in 2023. 2024 is going to be an interesting year, so I'm really excited for it. So y'all have a blessed one. Happy New Year, happy holidays, all that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next video.